Hey guys, Pit Master, I'm here with Vato, and I heard someone on the internet, actually today, I go over a lot of self-defense stuff, because I want to get ideas. I'll admit it, sometimes I'll look at one and go, wow, that's really good, I want to try to put my twist on it. Or maybe I might see it and go, oh, that one sucks, I want to talk about why that sucks. I'm not pointing anyone out, I'm not calling anyone out or anything, I'm just being general. And then sometimes it's just stuff that I watch in the UFC, like, oh shit, that worked, and then how can I make that applicable to the street? We're doing this all the time. This is like, it's always going. I got like my little notebook, I put it on my phone all the time. Oh, I just saw that. I put a note on my phone. So that's how I come up with my content. Okay, so my content creation is usually other YouTubes, other video stuff, and fights. UFC fights mainly. So with that said, I heard something that was a little disturbing. A fellow self-defense guy said that martial arts is not self-defense, and self-defense is not martial arts. I think that's the farthest thing from the truth that it's just imaginable. But let me just say this. If that is true, like if you do a martial art, but you have to do another art for your self-defense, there's something seriously wrong with your martial art. True. Our martial art, our core martial art, which we call Hawaiian Kempo, it's self-contained. It has everything. If we get jumped, it has an answer for every question, right? It's nothing that just looks good. If you do a martial arts system that just looks good, but wouldn't be functional if you got jumped, there is something wrong with that. You need to reassess that, because that's wrong. Martial, think of the word martial. It means war. So if you're teaching an art that is just to look good, there's something wrong with that picture. If you teach a martial art and you call it a martial art, but then you teach another street fighting technique in your gym, there's something wrong with that. Your martial art should be able to protect you or your students in any situation. That's the whole reason for doing it. Why would anybody go to a martial arts gym and then they'd have to bring in another system like Krav Maga or something? Why would anyone have to do that? If you're a martial art, that's all you should do. Unless your martial art is a competition and you want to do katas or forms. If you want it to be a sport, then that's great. Then sell it that way and be real and be honest. True. If your art is just an art form like dancing, right? And then you have to go in for the something like Krav Maga for the real stuff, that's fine. But don't pretend your martial art is a real martial art then. Call it an art form. And then and then have a real art that's going to protect your guys in the street. Our system, Hawaiian Kempo, it teaches self-defense for the street. It teaches my fighters how to win fights in the cage. Okay? Nothing pretty about it. Simple. It's simple but effective. And we have fun and we do belt system, and it's a traditional martial art, but it's old school. It's a real martial art. It's not just to watch and score and shit like that. So my point is, there is no difference between martial arts and self-defense. Like I said, if you teach a martial art, it better be functional in the street, and you don't have to have another little art like Krav Maga or something.
It's kind of like someone coming in here and be like, hey, I want to learn self-defense, and be like, oh well, you know what? I think I know this place down the street where you can go over there and learn from self-defense.
Or you could bring in a Krav Maga thing and do that. But if your system doesn't protect your people on the street, then just call it an art form like dancing or whatever. Because it is not a martial art unless you can protect yourself in the street with the techniques you're learning. And there's nothing visually stimulating about it, right? That's the art form. So,
that's false advertising.
what?
Kind of false advertising, you think?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I think it's false advertising if the guy comes in and goes, "Hey, can I learn to use these techniques on the street, like when we're doing stuff like this, this, and this?" They say, "Can I learn that on the street?" And you go, "Yeah, you can do this kind of stuff on the street." That's false advertising. If you're doing those techniques and you say, "This stuff looks kind of cool, it's very ineffective for the street, but you can win tournaments."
Like
okay?
a kata tournament.
It's a kata tournament. And then the guy goes, "But I want to learn how to fight." Then they'd have to say, "Well, then you have to go to the pit, or then you have to go to Krav Maga or something." But when people come into my gym and they say, "I want to learn how to defend myself on the street," I say, "Come on in, bro. Everything you learn is going to be applicable for the street." So I disagree with the guy that said that. Self-defense and martial arts should not be different. They should be the same thing. Your martial art should be completely self-contained and be able to teach your students a viable, practical, effective, functional self-defense. And if it doesn't, just call it an art form.
Or call us.